Last week, the gospel was about questions and answers. Then it was, is it lawful to pay the tax to Caesar? This week, the same pattern continues. Jesus is asked another question. This time, what's the greatest commandment? That wasn't an easy question because there were 613 commandments. And this would be an exercise that people would do with rabbis to see what kind of school they came from. What would they think was the most important? And at first, Jesus took a very easy way out. He quoted from the 6th chapter of the book of Deuteronomy, the prayer that is sometimes called the Shema Israel. Hear, O Israel, the Lord is our God, the Lord alone. Therefore, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your strength, and with all your soul. That was a pretty popular answer to the question of what is the greatest commandment. But then Jesus does what some salespeople would talk about, talking beyond the sell. You've made the sale, and then you're supposed to just keep quiet. But for Jesus, he said, oh, by the way, the second is like it. And from there, he doesn't take a very popular answer to the question. He goes to the book of Leviticus, to chapter 19, and quotes from there, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. And on that, those two commandments, everything else is based. The revolutionary thing that Jesus did was to link the two commandments. As I said, the Leviticus commandment was considered a light commandment. It was important to love God, but it wasn't all that important for most of the rabbis to love the neighbor. Jesus not only links the two, but elsewhere in John's gospel, he says, and I give you a new commandment, as if 613 weren't enough. I give you a new commandment, love as I have loved you. Love one another as I have loved you. So we have to ask the question, well, how did Jesus love? And we describe it as selfless, other-centered, totally, unconditional. That's a tall order for us to emulate in how we deal with each other. But that's the command. And you and I can spend our entire life trying to respond affirmatively to that directive. You may have heard me tell the story before of a young girl who was sitting at the dining room table, the kitchen table, and furiously drawing, very focused. And the mother said, honey, what are you drawing? And she said, I'm drawing the face of God. And the mother said, but honey, nobody knows what God looks like. And she responded, well, they will once I'm finished. But in a sense, we know how to draw the face of God. It's your face. It's my face. It's your neighbor's face. Don't we say that we are made in the image and likeness of God? And we hear the radical teaching of Jesus today that doesn't seem so radical because we've heard it so often, that the love of God is linked with the love of neighbor. And you cannot say that you love God unless you love and serve the other. On those two commandments, everything else is based.